Big news. Ardie Savea, the world's best player, is moving from the Hurricanes to play his Super Rugby at Moana Pasifika from next year. He signed with New Zealand Rugby through to 2027, so 3 seasons. He wants to do it for his family, for his culture, and to play alongside his brother, I'm presuming. JK, is this a good move?
Beautiful, beautiful. I just need to ask some questions. So Moana Pasifika pay the 185 grand that a top super player would get, and New Zealand pick up the rest. Is that how this would work?
Look, right from the very start, though, Moana Pasifika had in their terms and conditions the fact of Super Rugby they could have 3 All Blacks as part of their squad. This is great for them. This is great for Ardie Savea to play with his brother again. It's certainly
yeah, no, that's
helpful.
all beautiful.
Yeah, I know, but
what I'm interested in is New Zealand Rugby are paying Ardie
but
to
he's
play
playing
for
for the All
Moana
Blacks.
Pasifika.
But he plays for the All Blacks. He plays 10, 12, 13 tests for the All Blacks, Justin. So when I look at him and his legacy and around New Zealand Rugby and what he's done, I'm actually also excited for the Hurricanes because there was a logjam of talent there. Yeah. The form of guys this year who played so well, Devin Flanders, you had Braden Yossi, you had Peter Lakai, Duplessis Kirifi. I think in some ways with Ardie now going to Moana, if that brings other players with them, it gives them a chance to be stronger, more competitive, and they were better this year under Tana Umanga and Tom Coventry than they've been in the past. It gives them another step forward.
It does. And I just look at the bigger picture as well and think about exactly what you said. This year, the Hurricanes functioned without Ardie Savea, and we're very close to being in a final. So there's no doubt that I think the move will be massively advantageous to Moana Pasifika because of the numbers that a world-class player like Ardie Savea will bring. It's a good decision, and to be fair, it might freshen him up a bit. Like he's been at that one franchise for a very long time. And there's nothing like getting something different when you turn up for training each day.
I'm not convinced.
We can tell that.
I'm not, John. No, I'm not convinced because and I could be wrong, but the idea of Moana Pasifika for me was always to grow Pasifika rugby, and especially from Pasifika.
But those players can learn that are around Ardie Savea about what it takes to be a world-class player. So that will help them grow.
By me being more competitive every week as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that I know how difficult their seasons were when the fact that they weren't able to win some games and more games, and it's gone very, very quickly. It'll still be challenging for them. But I think let's see how this plays out.
Is it good for Ardie?
I tell you what, as long as he's there for the next 3 years, there's no more sabbaticals, and the fact he's there for 3 years, he's committed to that, to the next Rugby World Cup, and there's a wave of support in behind him, then I think fantastic.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I want Moana Pasifika to do great. I think it's the greatest thing for rugby, so don't get me wrong. But is it good for Ardie Savea if they have another season where they're second to last? Is that going to help us as All Black fans that Ardie's going to come from possibly having to do extra or struggling?
It'll be the workload, yeah.
It'll be a bigger workload.
Massively, yeah. He'll have more
responsibility. We've all played in teams that haven't gone so well. I remember one of my worst seasons ever when I went to second division in Italy, and I just played terribly because I was too worried about doing a whole lot of jobs. So is it really good for the All Blacks that he's going to Moana Pasifika? I'm being selfish. It's great for Moana. I get your arguments, people.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Get your arguments.
Hey, congratulations to Ardie Savea for making the decision for yourself, for your family, and he's with the All Blacks for the next 3 years until the Rugby World Cup as well. He was on show in San Diego for the All Blacks against Fiji, and so too were 6 rookies. The All Blacks didn't drop a game over the July window. They used all 32 squad members. Razor said it was a success, plus they had a couple of extras in Darry and Hotham. So what do you do now with the rookies? Who should be retained in the starting 23, if any? And when do the others get a second crack?
That's $1 million question, I guess, isn't it? But I think probably the satisfaction out of how those rookies came on and with real maturity went in and adjusted to the fact that some of them had to be thrown into the mixer when they weren't expected, like Noah Hotham, how they performed. Now, yeah, exactly, you're going to have players coming back and players coming in. And where do they go from here? Look, they grow, hopefully, from experience in what it's been All Black. 3 of us have been All Blacks. From your very first test match or your first game, when you went out there and running out there in that jersey, did it make you thirsty for more?
Totally.
And they will be thirsty for more. It'll make them better players, and I think that's the massive success out of it.
I think there's another thing that's really, really important for this group of players. We haven't won the World Cup since 2015. We need to find a new DNA or an extra DNA and a different type of player if we're going to lead the world again. So these young guys, I think not only they need to be hungry, but they've got to bring themselves very, very quickly. And Toshi comes on, makes a break, passes on the inside. That puts pressure on the incumbents. And I think if we're going to move forward, have we seen what our DNA is yet, Goldie? What's our new DNA under Razor?
Do you know how many times we're going to play in those conditions this year? I want to show some clips and show the highlights of our skill set in these conditions. Just run the footage about what we're able to do in this type of game. The fact we're playing on top of the ground. Guys aren't slipping over. The ball is dry. All of a sudden, our passes start to stick. Our defence, our alignment's good. Guys are running onto the ball. Guys are in support. Everything's on top of the ground. Look at this. Timing's perfect. Once again, guys running into space and holes, Justin. And to me, I look at this and go, this is perfect for our skill set right now in terms of what we've always been able to do.
Yeah.
But we weren't able to do that in Auckland because it was a little bit dewy, a little bit wet. You go down to Dunedin, it was cold. We'll go to the Northern Hemisphere. The only place you might get these, similar but not with no grass on the turf, this looked like artificial, is in South Africa, for example. You might get it up in the high veld, you know. So for me, I think this was perfect for us to showcase our talents against a team that didn't show up.
So that was a false reality.
Well, it's not a false reality. It was a really nice performance when we've all been in All Black teams where, and we expected the All Blacks to win this game, right? And how they went about it, I think, was fantastic. Senior players delivered, platform was brilliant, and our young guys got the opportunity to do what they're capable of on top of the ground.
That was not my question.
It might not be your question, but I'm explaining that game to
I'll
me.
ask you
That's what I saw that game.
and you can both answer it. Are we seeing, is that our DNA? What you just showed on
That's
screen?
what I was explaining to you. That's what we're able to do in those conditions.
Yeah, if it's our DNA, then it has to be able to play in any condition. Can we do it against the rushing defence march?
No.
Is that what we want to see?
You won't have that space and time. No.
So what's our DNA then?
Well, we've got to learn to beat that blitz defence. And some of those movements that you highlighted are exactly what you need to do that. You're not going to have the time. But equally, as long as the players are all expecting and are running at that depth with that type of precision and the handling is clean, then yes, you can execute against blitz defence. But it will always look good against lateral time and space defence, which is different than what we're going to experience later in the year.
I think we're starting to see a little bit of it, because if you remember back to the first few minutes against, or 10 minutes against England in the second test at Eden Park, they actually threw it around, tried to give it some air, tried to run the opposition off their feet, right? How are we going to beat South Africa? Not going to beat them at their own game, so we've got to run them around.
Yeah, which we did successfully a couple of years ago at Ellis Park. Literally run them off the park. They had to replace the entire front row before half-time.
Yep.
They couldn't handle the pace.
But then you'd go to a Rugby World Cup final where it's a little bit of rain.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you can't do that. And you're saying you can't rely on this one set of DNA. You have to be adaptable.
Yeah.
There are things that you have to grow, and we're trying to grow young players, and that's what this test match I think was perfect for. Like I said, we've been there in this situation before when you're an All Black. We got young guys coming in, Justin, JK, and all you want to do is deliver them the game so they can go out and enjoy it. Well, those young guys got that opportunity. It was the perfect scenario to blood new players in. But that's not the reality of what the top sides, the world-class sides, are going to bring in terms of heat and pressure and expectation. We've played 3 test matches and ultimately we've had 3 wins.
Yeah.
And I always look back to the start of the season, we got to this point 3 weeks later, would you be happy? Yeah, you'd be happy with 3 wins. How you've got those have been very, very contrasting between the 3 test matches. Had to work really hard for those 2 against England. But I just want to show a stat over the last 10 years, just to keep everything in perspective, about when you play against the top sides and when you play against everybody else. Had it not been for the 2 games that Argentina have created history in the last 10 years, we win 96% of our test matches against everybody else. The big 5, and this doesn't include the British and Irish Lions, which is a win, loss and a draw, 70% of them. That's what I'm going to judge this All Black team on. Yeah. And I'm certainly giving them a big pass mark after 3 tests, because of those big 5, 2 of them are against England. So we've got to a position where I'm sure they're satisfied, they're happy to where they are now. I really wish there was another test match this week, because I'd love to see what they're going to do. Now, I suppose we enjoy the sevens coming up this weekend at the Olympics, next weekend, and then we focus on
what do you do against Argentina then?
Knowing Scott Robertson and knowing him well, he's not the type of coach to give away All Black jerseys. I think what he's done is exactly what you have said, is create pressure from within. Those players earned their jerseys, all of them. And they showed that they earned them by the way they performed off the bench and Billy Proctor starting. So all of a sudden, that starting 15 or starting 23 against England now know that if they don't step up or if their form fades, those players are more than capable of filling their jersey. And I think that's healthy.
If we talk individuals then, yesterday you both said that Billy Proctor's put serious pressure on Rico Ioane. What is his best position in the All Blacks, Jeff? Is it on the wing? Is it at centre?
Look, Rico's vastly experienced. What Billy Proctor went out and did is fundamentally he was accurate in everything you need to see from an All Black centre. And look, he ran great lines. Defensively, he was really strong. But once again, he's not going to have this time and space against a big and physical defence like South Africa. Argentina, you know, that's going to be at Wellington, that's at Auckland. You don't know about those conditions. So all of these things are going to change. But you just mentioned it, Justin, and same for you, JK, is that when he goes out and has to deliver, he's gone and put pressure on everybody else, right? So now we know what he's capable of. Does that mean he starts ahead of Rico Ioane in a big test match? It's going to be a different challenge. What it has done is said, here's a guy that can, this is what he can do. If Scott Robertson and his coaching team decide that's the skill set they want, then he'll get his opportunity.
So what Rico needs to learn to do under pressure is give that last pass. That's the only thing he lacks, probably. He is incredibly strong getting us over the advantage line now. He's running really hard lines. The lines that you saw Proctor do, you know, last night against Fiji, he would have had a blinder yesterday, Rico. But what the pressure comes on is, we need you to make that last pass, Rico, technically. You do that, we don't have too many problems. If he doesn't get better, that's when they go, oh, Billy, you get out there and have a crack. So Rico will know that. It'll be on his things to improve list. But now he's got that pressure that really motivates you to go, well.
Can I mention something there, though? He went a whole season not passing the ball with the Blues, because that's not the way the Blues played. They were direct, they were physical. The fact he wasn't using the soft skills, the fact they were playing in a lot of games, once again, at night, there was a couple of afternoon games, but they were blunt force trauma through the middle, and that's what he did really well. Really strong defensively. We should never underestimate the use of his speed and how he can save the day defensively quite often. But in terms of those passing skills, didn't do a lot of it through Super Rugby. And I think it's taking him a bit of time to get back into the habit. And against England, you weren't going to get a lot of opportunity to do that. He missed a couple of opportunities there. It's something he'll have to work on.
But overnight, he hasn't become a bad centre or a bad player.
He was awesome last year.
And I certainly feel that he would have learnt a lot from that series. I think he's capable. He's got the ability to deliver that pass or deliver that performance. And let's face it, he wasn't the only one who got spooked. There were other players that got spooked who should have passed at times when they had the opportunity. So, you know, I don't feel that he's going to be a victim yet. He's too good a player.
I'm just using your words from yesterday.
No, I'm going to go back to what Marshy said. What we'll see against Argentina, and you heard it here first, is he'll probably go back to the starting 15, maybe put Barrett in if he's helping McKenzie, that played against England, because they've earned the right. Yep, they beat England in 2 test matches. So Argentina, you'll go, you're out there again, guys, but on the bench, I might just put Billy. On the, you know, I might Ethan against Dalton, right? So that's what'll happen. He'll go back to the guys that, because they've earned the right. They won their last test match. They've rotated the squad. There you go.